The night I walked down that hotel hallway with a fake beard glued to my face, I knew something was going to die. My marriage, my pride, or the last piece of myself that still believed I was loved. The crazy thing is, I was the richest man in that building, and I still felt like a thief sneaking up on his own life. Tell me, how far gone does a man have to be before he starts spying on his own wife? My name is Maxwell. People call me Chief, but I want you to forget the title for a minute. Forget the cars, the houses, the security, all of that noise, and just listen to me as a man, because under all the suits and headlines, I came from a place where owning 2 shirts was already a blessing. I grew up in a small village where the roof leaked when it rained and the floor turned to mud, where my father came home with tired eyes and empty pockets, and my mother would stretch one meal like it was magic. I remember watching him count coins slowly, like maybe if he moved gently enough, they would multiply. I remember my mother boiling water to trick our stomachs into thinking food was coming. That does something to you, you know. One night I looked at that pot of empty water, and I promised myself out loud, my children will never know this. That promise became my fuel. I took every small job they laughed at loading fuel drums, till my back felt like it was breaking. Sleeping in trucks, chasing late payments from men who thought a poor boy had no right to ask where his money was. I got cheated, insulted, lied to. But I kept going. Slowly, contracts got bigger. I reinvested. When everyone told me to spend, I built an oil supply company, then transport, then real estate, then construction. I made it. Not lottery money, not social media money, real money. The kind of money that changes how people greet you, how they move out of your way, how they suddenly always believed in you. And yet in the middle of all that, I would come home, open the door to this beautiful, expensive silence, and realize I had built an empire with no real home in it. Big dining table, empty chairs. Guest rooms, no kids. Staff everywhere, but nobody who touched my face and called me by my name without expecting anything in return. I kept telling myself, later, when things settle, when the next deal closes. Spoiler, life never fully settles. I waited too long. Then Sandra came in like an answered prayer in high heels. She was stunning, graceful, sharp, always put together. But it wasn't the looks that got me. I've been around beauty long enough to know it can be rented by the hour. It was the way she spoke to me. Everyone else called me Chief, Sir, Boss, with that careful respect. She smiled, touched my arm, and called me my love. She wanted to hear how I started, about my parents, about the village, about the struggle. She looked impressed, but not intimidated. It felt good. I won't lie, it felt like finally someone saw the boy under the title. People warned me. Close friends, old staff, my driver once said quietly, "Sir, Madam to be, her eyes no day soft." I brushed it off. You get tired of doubting people. I was lonely successful, and I wanted to believe God had finally sent someone who cared about me, not just the lifestyle. We got married. The wedding was big, loud, beautiful, everything money can put a bow on. And at first it was good. She checked on me, brought me food in my study, sat close to me. At events, squeezed my hand. When people came asking for favors, she made me feel like I wasn't doing life alone anymore. I remember thinking, at last this house has a heart. Then it started shifting so slowly, I almost missed the beginning. Little comments first. A sharp tone here, a rolled eye there, mocking my age when I said I was tired, laughing off my advice as old school. The staff felt it before I did. She snapped at them. insulted their work, treated them like they weren't human. These were people who had walked with me from nothing, and now they were afraid to knock on the bedroom door. One day, I told her gently, "Sandra, you can't talk to them like that. They've been loyal to me for years." She glared at me like I'd betrayed her. "So your workers are more important than your wife now?" That was how she flipped it. I ended up apologizing for even bringing it up. Pattern interrupt, that was my first real mistake. Then came the nights. I'm going out with friends. No names, no invitations for me to join, just perfume. Tight dresses, new wigs. Late returns. I'd come home from 14-hour days to cold food and a colder bed. Her phone, meanwhile, was always alive, always close, always locked. She slept with it under her pillow, like it was a bodyguard. One evening, I walked into the living room and saw her laughing at her phone, that deep, full laugh, the kind I hadn't heard directed at me in a long time. And I asked in a calm, normal husband voice, "Who are you chatting with?" She snapped the phone away like I was a stranger robbing her. "Nobody," she said, rolling her eyes. "Let me see," I asked. Soft. No shouting. And then she turned, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Are you mad?" 3 words like a slap. Nobody in my offices, nobody in government, nobody on the streets had ever spoken to me like that. But in my own home, in my own living room, my own wife did. She stormed upstairs, slammed the door. Later came tears. "I'm sorry, babe. I'm stressed. You know I love you. You don't trust me anymore." And somehow I ended up reassuring her. That night, I pretended to sleep while her phone kept lighting up beside me. She turned her face away from me to smile into the screen, fingers typing fast. Body relaxed in a way it no longer was with me. I stared at the ceiling and felt something crack. Not fully break, just crack. You know that feeling right when your spirit leans toward a truth your mind doesn't want to confirm. If it were you, what would you have done? Grab the phone, throw her out. Pretend you didn't see. I chose denial for a while, because starting over at my age felt heavier than swallowing disrespect. But denial has an expiration date. The day it expired looked like any other. She came downstairs dressed too well for visiting a friend red dress that fit a little too perfectly, perfume, loud energy high. My driver opened the car for her, then glanced at me. That tiny look that says, "Chief, something is off." I checked the time. 7:49 p.m. Exactly. She said, "I won't be long," kissed the air next to my cheek, and left. I watched the gate close, stood there, and something in my chest said, "Enough." I went upstairs, opened a drawer, and took out a fake beard and an old cap. Leftover from a costume event. I almost laughed at myself in the mirror. A whole billionaire getting into disguise like a jealous teenager. Yeah, that happened. But sometimes dignity has to step aside so truth can come in. I took one of the spare cars with no escort, no convoy. Kept my distance, watched where she went. No friend's compound, no family house. Straight to a hotel in Lekki, the kind of place people use when they want to be seen just enough to feel important, but not enough to attract real attention. I parked far, watched her step out. Then I saw him. Young guy, light-skinned, slim, cheap gold chain, shining that lazy confidence of a man who thinks he's hitting the jackpot. She lit up when she saw him. She hugged him like she hadn't seen him in months, held his hand. They went inside, fingers locked. That was the moment denial died. Not slowly. Clean shot. I sat in the car for a bit, watching the entrance, feeling my hands go cold. My world didn't end right there, but the version of it where I believed in her did. After a few minutes, I stepped out, adjusted the fake beard, pulled the cap low, walked into the hotel. No security, no drama, just a man chasing the last piece of his sanity. The hallway upstairs felt like a tunnel. Dim lights, thick air, my heart banging against my ribs. I found their door. I don't know how long I stood there breathing before I finally raised my hand. Knock, knock, knock. At first, nothing. Then her laugh, soft, familiar, twisted now. Sheets rustling. A man's voice. I opened the door. What I saw didn't surprise me. What shocked me was how much it still hurt. Sandra on the bed, tangled in white sheets, that boy next to her, both of them scrambling like kids caught stealing. The room smelled like perfume and sweat and guilt, and my disguise slipped halfway off like it was ashamed to be part of this. "Maxwell!" she screamed when she recognized me. Time stretched, but I didn't shout. I didn't break the TV, didn't touch the boy, didn't call her names. I just stood there. My whole body locked my throat dry. You think you'll explode in a moment like that? But sometimes the betrayal hits so hard, all your emotions crash into each other and cancel out. The boy tried, "Sir, it's not what you think." I raised one hand, and he went silent. Then, as if the night had more humiliation on the schedule, the door behind me pushed further open. "Jesus! Chief!" It was Anita, Sandra's older sister, clutching a small purse, staring mouth open, eyes darting from me to the bed to her sister. "You knew," I said to her quietly. Not a question. She stammered, "No, I came to talk to her. I'm in a hotel room with this." I cut in. Sandra dropped to the floor in front of me, wrapping the sheet around her. "Maxwell, please, I can explain. It's not what it looks like. Please, it's a mistake. I was lonely." That word pulled a bitter laugh out of me. "Lonely in my house with every comfort I bled for." I said, "Explain that to me." Here's the crazy part. In that moment, standing in that ugly scene, the businessman in me woke up faster than the husband. Anger would make me sloppy. Sloppy would make me lose. I needed control. I turned to Anita. "Take pictures." Her eyes flew wide. "Chief!" "You heard me," I said. Sandra screamed. She grabbed at her sister's legs, crying, "Anita, don't you dare! I will die, I swear! Don't do this!" The boy whispered, "Sir, please, let's not." I looked at him, and it shut him down. Anita's hands shook as she pulled out her phone. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "She has lied enough," I answered. "I need proof." Pattern interrupt, and right there the story stopped being just about cheating. A loud knock hit the door. Not gentle. Urgent. The hotel security guard slipped inside, sweating. "Sir Chief Maxwell, please, we have a problem." I stared at him, already tired. "Unless the building is on fire, pick another time." He swallowed, voice shaking. "Sir, the media is outside." That got my attention. "What media?" "Journalists, bloggers, camera guys. They're at the gate," he said. "They say someone informed them you came here to catch your wife with another man." Anita's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, turned the screen so I could see. Breaking news teaser. "Billionaire. Chief Maxwell storms hotel to expose cheating wife. Exclusive soon." That's when the cold settled in my bones. This wasn't random. This wasn't just her, this boy, a stupid decision. This was a setup. In one breath, my private pain had been packaged for public consumption. Someone wanted me embarrassed, trending weakened. Someone wanted my name dragged, my control, shaken, my company unstable. "Who told them?" I asked Sandra. She shook her head violently. "I don't know. I swear. You don't know any bloggers, any media owners, I said, my voice low. Somebody helped you. Somebody fed them this. If I talk, he'll kill me, she whispered. There it was. He, a shadow in our bedroom. I stepped closer. Sandra, listen carefully, I said, holding her face up so she had to see mine. Right now, you're already destroyed. The only thing that can save any piece of you is the truth. Who is he? Anita looked between us, tears in her eyes. Tell him, she said. Tell him what you told me last month. Sandra snapped at her. Shut up. I looked at Anita. Last month? She nodded. She said there's a man always telling her what to do, how to talk to you, how to control you. My jaw clenched. Is he close to me? I asked. Sandra didn't answer, but her silence did. Is he from my office? She nodded slowly. My company. Another nod. Who? I demanded. She covered her face. I hit the wall with my fist hard enough to shake the bulb. Who? She jumped. Your deputy. She choked out Collins. And just like that, the real mask fell. Now you need to understand who Collins was, to really feel that twist. I picked that boy up when nobody knew his name. I saw talent, gave him chances I didn't have, pushed him forward. I let him run meetings in my place, trusted him with accounts, shielded him when people doubted him. I called him my guy, told people he was like a younger brother. And now I was hearing he had been whispering in my wife's ear, telling her I was old, stingy, hiding money, teaching her to disrespect me, planning this little media circus to force a scandal, shake my company, and slide into my position. If you're watching this, and you've ever lifted someone who later tried to bury you, you know that specific kind of nausea. Outside, the reporters were getting louder. Bang. Bang. Sir, if they break in and see you hear live cameras, it's over, the guard said. You'd expect me to panic. Instead, I felt strangely steady. That part of me that survived poverty, the one that built everything from dust, stepped into the driver's seat. Let them break it, I said quietly. The guard stared at me like I was insane. Before he could protest, my phone started vibrating. I checked the screen and I almost laughed. Caller ID Collins. You picked the wrong night, I muttered, then hit speaker. Maxwell, my man. Collins' voice came through too smooth way, too pleased with himself. How's the hotel? He asked, actually laughing. I heard something big is going down. The internet will be crazy tonight. The room went silent. Sandra covered her mouth. Anita shook her head. The guard looked horrified. The boy froze. Collins kept talking. I told Sandra how to handle you. You know a big man like you needs to be reminded he's not untouchable. The whole city will be talking. You should rest, old man. Don't stress about the office tomorrow. Things might be different. Yeah, he really said that. Are you done? I asked, voice flat. He chuckled. Why so calm? Chief Cat got your tongue. Thank you, I said. Silence. For what? He asked. For confessing, I said, on speaker in front of witnesses, while I'm recording. That word hit him. Wait, what? He snapped. Collins, I continued. By now my security team has the trace. By the time you hang up, they'll be at your door with the police. You'll have enough time to explain how you set bloggers on your boss, coached his wife, tried to hijack his company. Good luck. He started stuttering. Maxwell, listen. I'm joking. It's content. It's not like that. I hung up. That, right there, was the moment the trap flipped. Stick around because what happened next will blow your mind. The door shook harder now, cameras outside, voices calling my name, throwing questions they didn't even know the answers to yet. I turned back to Sandra. She was on the floor crying so hard, her whole body shook. "Maxwell, I'm sorry. Please don't let them in. Please don't leave me. Don't let them film me. Like this. Think of my family. My church. I will change. I swear I will change." I looked at her. I remembered the girl who called me my love when others called me Chief. I remembered how badly I wanted to believe she loved me. But I also remembered the late nights, the disrespect, the plan, the call, the fact that she had stood shoulder to shoulder with a stranger against me. Kindness is not stupidity, and forgiveness is not blindness. "From today," I said quietly, each word landing like a hammer, "you are no longer my wife." She screamed like the ground opened. Anita started crying too, but she didn't argue. She knew. Choices were made. I turned to the guard. "Is there another way out?" "Yes, sir," he whispered. "Emergency exit." "Take me." We slipped out through a back route down a stairwell that smelled like bleach and dust into a black SUV around the service side of the building. No cameras there. By the time reporters burst into that room, Chief Maxwell was gone. All they had was Sandra in a twisted sheet, a terrified boyfriend, a devastated sister, and a story that suddenly wasn't so simple anymore. The recordings, the call, the messages, they all came out. Collins was arrested. Investigations opened. The narrative shifted so fast, reporters got whiplash. Instead of billionaire disgraced, it became deputy exposed in blackmail plot. People praised my calm. Some said I planned it all from the start. I didn't. I just refused to lose my mind where they wanted me to. As for Sandra, I filed for divorce immediately. We had a clear prenup. She walked away with what she came with. No house, no car, no jewelry, no shares. I heard people whisper, "Chief is wicked, at least give her something." Let me ask you this. Do you think that's fair? When a person ties hands with your enemy to destroy you, are you obligated to cushion their fall? Or at some point, is it okay to say, "You created this. You can live with it"? I'm not here to polish my image. I'm telling you what I did. You decide what you think. Months passed. The noise faded. Collins faced his charges. The company survived stronger because people saw I wouldn't be pushed around. But I won't pretend it didn't scar me. You start questioning everyone. Every smile looks suspicious. Every compliment sounds like bait. I was functioning, but not really living. Then I met Felicia. It wasn't in a club or at some big event with cameras. It was at a charity outreach. My company funds the kind of place where kids sit on plastic chairs and eat rice like it's Christmas. She was there as a volunteer, simple dress hair, pulled back, laughing with the children, not looking for anyone's attention. I watched her for a while before even speaking to her. When we finally talked, she didn't lead with, "So what do you do?" She already knew who I was, but she didn't act impressed or afraid. She just asked, "Why did you start this program?" I told her a little about the leaking roof, the empty pot, the promise I made as a boy. She listened, really listened. "That makes sense," she said. "You never forgot." That was it. No performance. No angle. You know what I mean, right, when someone talks to you like a person, not a headline. We took things slow. I told her everything before it could ever come back as ammunition. The hotel, Sandra Collins, the scandal, the divorce. She didn't defend Sandra, but she didn't demonize her either. She just said, "Pain makes people do ugly things, but betrayal is still a choice." That sentence stayed with me. In time, I realized she wasn't interested in being Madam Chief. She just wanted a partner. We got married quietly. No huge spectacle invited people who actually knew our story, not the edited version. Our home feels different now. Peaceful. Real. One night, she put our baby in my arms. The child grabbed my finger with that absolute innocent trust only kids have, and she smiled. "Maxwell, you deserve real love." I kissed my child's forehead and said, "For the first time, I think I finally have it. But I don't want this to sound like some neat, cleaned-up fairy tale, because life is messier than that. And I know as you're listening, some of you are taking sides already. So let me leave you with the uncomfortable questions. When a spouse cheats, how far should consequences go, especially when there's money? Power, reputation involved, did I go too far? Letting Sandra face public humiliation and walk away with nothing? Or was that exactly the weight of what she tried to help do to me? When an employee you raised turns on you, do you ever truly forgive that hour? Or is that the one line that once crossed stays burned forever? When the media shows up at the ugliest moment of your life, hungry for a headline, do they care about truth or just blood? And are you wrong for using that same spotlight to expose the people who tried to weaponize it against you? Do you think what I did was justice, or just a richer man's version of revenge? If it were you in that hotel room with a cheating spouse on the floor and cameras outside, what would you have done? Protect her, forgive her, pay her off quietly, or walk out like I did and let the story tell itself? I want to hear from you. Really. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue with me. Agree with me. Tell me where you would draw the line. If you've ever been set up, betrayed by someone you trusted. If you've ever had a partner, let an outsider into your marriage share it. Somebody out there thinks they're alone in that pain. They're not. If this story hit a nerve, don't just click away. Hit like so it reaches someone who needs to see the warning signs they keep pretending are harmless. Subscribe if you want more real stories, told the way they actually feel, not the way press releases spin them. Share this video with that friend who keeps ignoring disrespect because they're scared to start over. And tell me right now in the comments, was I too harsh, too soft, or exactly where justice needed to be? Your turn.